All right, namaste, everybody. Thank you for being here, signing on tonight. Let's go ahead and make your way onto your mat and grab any props that you might have. And hopefully everybody has access to a wall. And if you don't have access to a wall, like the back of a chair will work, or the back of a couch, or like something that's about kitchen island height even kind of works well. But if you have a wall, that's preferable. So if you want to go ahead and lie flat on your back to start, and let's just take about 2 to 3 like full body good morning stretches on your back, just so you can flatten out your spine. It's the end of the day here, Monday night. So just kind of inhale and lying flat, stretch out like when you first wake up in the morning, and point your toes and exhale, release. And if you want to do that 2 times or 3 times. And then just pull one knee at a time in towards your chest and give yourself like a little tuck of the knees towards the chest, like a little hug, full fetal position. And just rock side to side gently. And when you're ready, you can roll to one side and come up to a seat, or you can rock and roll forward and come up to a comfortable cross-legged seat. If you want to use a bolster or pillow, a rolled up blanket to lift the hips, you might give that a try. I know if I don't, my knees don't come down this close to the ground. They're kind of up here, and that makes it uncomfortable for me to sit up tall without a whole lot of effort. So just by propping, it helps my pelvic bowl to feel like it's level. And once you're there, you might rock side to side, left sit bone, right sit bone, feeling grounded, and maybe forward and back till you notice that there's no weight in the tailbone. You're just equally grounded in the left and right sit bones. So they should feel like the feet of your pelvic bowl. And then again, that should allow the spine to come up tall with ease instead of just all effort. And then relax the arms at your sides. If the fingertips graze, just let them graze. If the hands don't touch, don't worry about that. If the hands go flat. So wherever you are, just allow the shoulders to start to relax away from the ears. Feel the crown of the head lengthening up to the sky. If you're not sure where the crown of the head is, by the way, it's been a while since I've told people this, covered this. You put the heel of your hand at the center of your forehead where that third eye chakra is, and reach your middle finger straight back to the top of your head. And that point is the crown of your head. And sometimes it's just a nice kinesthetic reminder of like, which part am I kind of lengthening up? And that helps to keep the neck in alignment. So just take a few breaths here. Connecting to the natural state of our breath, we'll move away from our shallow daily pattern breathing and just turn your awareness to the breath. And often just by turning the awareness to the breath, it kind of naturally becomes a little deeper. So inhale deeply and exhale deeply. Inhale fully and exhale fully. Allow the ribs to expand in order to allow space for the lungs to completely fill up, and then they kind of hug back in when you exhale as the lungs empty completely. Notice if there's tension in your throat space, and if you swallow or just kind of soften and open through the throat space, that helps you to breathe through the nostrils without like feeling like you're pushing, pulling air or disturbing the nasal hairs. Settle your gaze where it feels natural. So horizon level or below, just so that the eyelids and the eyes feel soft and relaxed. Take 3 more natural breaths here at your own pace. And then if you'd like to set intention for your practice this evening, you can do that silently to yourself. If it's just something that maybe drops in. And if you don't have an intention, I'll set a group intention that you're welcome to use. That we just stay connected inside for the entire practice. And when we catch ourselves kind of wandering or getting sort of entangled with the mind or moving, time traveling into the future or storytelling about things of the past, and we find that we're not in that present moment, just pull yourself back to staying connected to yourself, to your most deepest inner self, that place inside of each of us that is connected to the universal consciousness and everything around us and within us. Let's add some simple movements with our breath, syncing the movements with our breath throughout the practice as best as you can. And just begin to inhale and then sweep the arms up overhead, allowing the shoulder blades to relax. Fingers like they're plugging into the ceiling. And then exhale and start to slowly lower the arms back down. Just do that 2 more times with your breath. Nice and simple. So that you can connect to that we're not rushing the breath or letting the movement dictate the pace of the breath, but begin to breathe and then move. And try to sync the movement from beginning to end of the breath, and then begin to breathe and then move. And then bringing your hands to your heart in Anjali Mudra. Take an inhale here at the center, nice long neutral spine. And exhale, press the hands out in front of you, tops of the shoulders relax, shoulder blades press away from each other. Gaze down and just kind of round the spine gently. On the inhale, open the arms, look up, lift the chest. Kind of shine the heart forward and take a little back bend. And then exhale, hands together and just gently, gently round the spine again. Inhale now back to Anjali Mudra, sitting tall. And we'll do that 2 more times. On the exhale, hands pressed forward, spine gently rounds. On the inhale, lift into the back bend. Maybe look up like you're lifting your face to the warmth of the sun. And exhale, hands together and round. Inhale back to starting Anjali Mudra, sitting tall. Last one, exhale, hands forward, gently round. Inhale, sweep the arms open, lift the heart space, tiny back bend. Exhale, round again gently. And inhale back to Anjali Mudra, sitting tall. Exhale, release your right hand down to the right side of your hip to the floor. And then inhale, sweep your left arm up. And exhale, side bend right. And let's move in and out of this a couple times. So inhale, lifting up tall. Exhale, side bending same direction. Inhale, lifting up tall. And exhale, side bending. Take a couple breaths here. And if you want, you can look up past that top finger, deepening the side stretch a little bit. And on the third inhale, rise back up. Exhale, release the left hand down next to the left hip. Inhale, the right arm sweeps up. And exhale, side bend over. Inhale, sit up tall. Exhale, side bend. One more time with your breath. Inhale, rising. Exhale, side bending and hold. Take a couple breaths here. Again, you can look up. How deep to go here, how deep to go in any pose. If you can breathe there, you can be there. And on your third inhale, rise back up. And exhale, sweep the right hand down. Take your fingertips to your shoulders and make some circles one direction with the elbows just nice and easy. Getting a little bit bigger if you want, and then switching directions. And then bring your arms to cactus. Let your palms face each other. Notice my elbows are shoulder height, 90-degree angles. Inhale, lift through the spine, lift through the crown of the head. Exhale, twist to your left. Take an inhale to lengthen up nice and tall again. Exhale, lower the hands one behind, one in front, or even over to this knee here. Use the hands to help you sit tall and use your breath. Each exhale taking you a little deeper into the rotation. You can let the right hip come in front of the left one a little bit. And you can even take the gaze back over that back shoulder. One more breath when you feel like you're in your fullest expression of the rotation. And then we inhale back to center, arms up to cactus. Exhale, rotate to your right, just turning the shoulders, the rib cage first. Inhale to lengthen. And exhale, release the hands, one in front, one behind. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, rotating a little deeper. You can let that left hip come in front of the right one first, deepening the rotation at the base of the spine or the lower portion. Keeping the heart open, the shoulders level, and then you can take the gaze around the back shoulder, deepening the rotation in that upper portion of the spine. One more breath, inhale, lengthening, exhale, anchoring. And then inhale, coming back to center. Let the arms just relax at the sides this time. Take your right ear to your right shoulder. Doesn't need to feel forceful. Imagine that you can, oh, let me go this way so I'm mirroring you guys. You can imagine that you're sending breath to that side of the neck that's getting a stretch. And then bringing the head up, inhale, exhale, switch sides. So over to the left. Breathe into the opposite side where you're feeling that stretch. And then inhale, bring the gaze up. Go ahead and interlace the fingers behind the head, feeling the head rest back into the hands. So try not to push the head forward. Draw the elbows back, lift the face like you're lifting it to the warmth of the sun. And just squeeze those elbows back, ground through your sits bones, just gently. And just feel like a tiny little back bend here for the upper part of the spine with the neck being supported. Shoulders at the tops around the base of the neck, staying relaxed. Feel the bottom tips of the shoulder blades, how they're working in this posture with the arms, with the elbows bent like this and the hands behind the head. Take one more deep breath. And then bring the gaze forward, release the arms down at the sides. Let's make our way to hands and knees, using a blanket for a cushion if you have one underneath the knees. And if your wrists are feeling a little bit cranky, I'm finding mine are right now, but I think that's just the dryness coming into the season now. You can roll up the front of your mat and place the heel of your hands on the mat, but your fingertips and the rest of your hands down towards the floor. It just kind of creates a little less of a 90-degree angle here in the front of the wrist, and it might help to release some pressure. So try to find where your shoulders, elbows, wrists are stacked, and then knees underneath the hips. And let's inhale, cow, nice and easy, soft around the base of the neck, shoulders relax. And exhale, Just gently round into cat. Do 2 more times like this. Inhale cow, exhale cat. And you want to feel space between each of the vertebrae in both flexion and extension. So just keep lengthening from the crown of the head through the tip of the tailbone. Last rounding, exhale. And then inhale, come back to a neutral spine. And exhale, press back into child's pose. Take a breath here in devotional or child's pose. And then inhale, rise up again. Go right into your cow, so into extension. And then exhale, round into cat. Inhale, flat or neutral spine, long spine. And exhale, sit back into devotional pose. Take a full breath. And inhale, rise and up into cow. Exhale, round to cat. And inhale, neutral spine. And exhale, sit back into devotional pose again. Let's take 3 breaths here this time. Enjoy the little bit of hip opening you're getting here. I know some people aren't able to sit all the way back and they have to bring their arms forward as a variation to get their forehead to the ground, but you still get a nice hip opening. You get lengthening through the lower spine. One more breath for everybody. And then coming forward to your tabletop and lower down to your forearms, elbows coming right under the shoulders. And let's extend the right leg back with the ball of the foot down, just to feel that when you extend that hip doesn't pop up. You keep your hips nice and level. And then inhale and squeeze, just lift this leg up. Just add a little bit of weight here, one leg at a time, toe pointing down. So the leg comes up, but I'm not popping my hip open. I'm still keeping them nice and level and just engaging the backs of my leg, the back of my leg, grounding through my arms, shoulders relaxing. Take one more breath here. And then lower the knee back down next to the left one, excuse me. Extend the left leg back, ball the foot down. So feel this kind of weird tripod base with the forearms, the right knee down. Those are your grounding points, shoulders relax. Keep the left toe pointing down and lift that leg up as high as you can and still keeping the hips level. So as I'm coming up higher, I'm not opening here to the side. I'm keeping my hips level. I'm just really shooting energy out through the 4 corners of my floating foot toward the wall behind me. Take a couple of breaths here. Notice if the lower back starts to kind of collapse. And just try to hug the bottom front ribs into the body if that's happening. Take one more breath. And then knees back. Turn your palms and forearms face up now and sit back into your devotional pose with the arms like this. So again, either the hips will go all the way back for some people, or the arms will just scoot forward in order to get the forehead to the mat. Let's take 3 breaths here. This is a different stretch on the shoulders. And so for me, it's enough to make me have to come forward more in the pose, but that's fine. Good. Inhale. Rise up again. Let's come back up onto our hands. Take an inhale and tabletop. I'm going to take my socks off from a slide and exhale into your downward facing dog. You guys go ahead and take Adho Mukha Svanasana. I'll join you here. And just pedal the feet, wiggling into it like one hip at a time is going high, so that when we go to send both our hips high, really sending weight back into the back part of the pose so that it isn't just relying on our upper body to hold all of our weight. You can kind of shift and distribute that weight evenly between the lower half and the upper half. And you can relax your shoulders out of your ears. Soft bend in the knees if you need. To take a generous bend in the knees, that's fine too. Whatever allows you to feel like your spine is long and has space and you can reach the tailbone up and back. Good. And then on your next exhale, lower the knees. Take your devotional pose. Take any variation with the arms that you like. So each variation can have a different effect. It can stretch or strengthen in different areas of the body. So sometimes you can just choose for yourself. Well, actually, anytime you really could choose for yourself. Everything I say is a suggestion. One more breath. And then straighten the arms, hands come back. Inhale to tabletop and exhale to downward facing dog. One more breath. Take your feet wide and bend your knees and inhale, walk your hands back towards the feet. Exhale, hands to the thighs and come up. I'm going to press my blanket out of my way here and come to the front short edge of your mat. Just find the four corners of your feet underneath you, weight distributed evenly over those points in the feet. Maybe even lift and spread the toes so you feel, if you look down as you lift and spread the toes, you can notice what happens to the arches of your feet when you do that. It kind of makes mine lift. So everything's just more activated and helps my knees align over the second and third toe. And it doesn't have to be a real intense action. It's just slight, and I can see how it makes my arches engage and lift. Feel the heart space opening as you breathe in. The collarbone is broad and lifting, and that just allows space on the back for the shoulder blades. And then remember that point, the crown of your head is just lengthening up toward the heavens as you ground the feet down toward the earth. So feel that sense of equanimity throughout the whole body, just lengthening from end to end. And take a couple more breaths here in Tadasana. And then try, without looking behind you or looking down, to just take an inhale and step your right foot back, a short, wide stance to warrior one. So you can even just slide the foot back. You don't have to pick it up. You can stay in contact with the earth as you find that foot placement behind you for Virabhadrasana 1. You want to feel squared up in the feet, the knees, and the hips, and the shoulders to the short edge of the mat. You might take an inhale, hands at the rib cage to lengthen up. And exhale, there's just a slight rotation from the ribs to feel squared up, and then ground through that back outer heel. And then bring your hands to cactus. You can do the palms facing the opposite wall or each other like we did before. So you can kind of play with that and see which one you like. And just inhale here and lift the heart space up and forward, deepening in the back bend, maybe gazing up a little bit. And then exhale, round the spine, cross the arms in front of you across the chest. And round. Inhale, lift and open into cactus arms and back bend. Exhale, round. So my lower body, my lower half isn't changing, staying nice and place. Keep moving in and out with your breath. I'm just adding flexion and extension in the spine to this standing pose. And there's maybe just little nuances of change through distributing my feet, my weight equally over the front and the back foot, so that I stay balanced, I stay steady. Last one, inhale and exhale. And then come up in a neutral or long spine, release the hands to the hips. Take an inhale, and then exhale, hinge forward at the front hip. So the hip is what's flexing here. The spine is staying nice and long. And if you want more challenge, you can take your arms forward to Anjali Mudra, which adds a little bit more weight and extra activity of keeping the shoulder blades on the rib cage. If you want more core challenge, extend the arms overhead. And take a couple breaths here in humble warrior. Keep that fullness of breath. And then you can inhale and sweep up to warrior one, standing upright, and exhale, step forward to Tadasana. Very nice. Take 3 breaths here, finding that place of grounded centeredness in your body here. Allow the fullness of the breath to always be there. Don't deprive yourself of all that prana energy. It's really going to be useful in the poses, especially as they become more challenging. I think sometimes our mental tendency is to maybe start to restrict the breath a little bit without realizing it. So keep the breath there. So we're going to switch sides, try not to look back or down, and just step your left foot back now to warrior one. And you can do like I'm doing, like kind of step part way, then find your way a little bit. Hands to the rib cage, inhale, lengthen up, and exhale, it's just a slight rotation toward the front short edge of your mat so you feel nice and squared, and you shoot energy down that back outer heel as you press into the front foot. Good, bring your arms to cactus, and we'll do 5 times like we did last time, in and out. So inhaling cactus, arms, spinal extension or back bend. Exhale, cross the arms in front of you, and just round little spinal flexion. Inhale. And exhale. So notice I'm not flexing my spine and then flexing more in my hip by coming forward. I'm staying right here with this hip flexion I have of just the front leg forward and knee bent. Good. Exhale, round. Inhale. Just follow the pace of your breath. Good. Then coming to cactus arms and release the hands to the hips. Take an inhale to lengthen and exhale, hinge forward. Again, the hips are staying side by side. I'm flexing just in that front hip. I'm staying long through my spine, through the crown of the head, and hands stay at hips, Anjali Mudra, or extend overhead, shoulders relaxed. 2 more deep breaths. Let the breath be there so that the core muscles are really working to support the spine and spinal integrity against gravity here. And then you can inhale, rise up from your feet. And exhale, step forward back to Tadasana. Find your mountain pose here and enjoy it for 3 breaths. Good, let's turn and face the long edge of our mat. Take your legs leg length apart. And then we'll all turn our toes to the right. So the toes of both feet just turning. Let's bend into our front knee and move in and out of warrior to reverse warrior with our breath. So extend your arms. Try thumbs up on this one with the palms facing the screen. And let's inhale, reverse the warrior. Just rest that pinky on the back leg. And then exhale back to warrior 2. Do that 2 more times. Think about lengthening up nice and tall, more than worried about going backwards so much. And exhale. And again, staying long in the side bodies. Inhale, last reverse. And then exhale to warrior 2 and lower the front elbow to the front thigh. Go ahead and extend the top arm overhead. Look down at that bottom hand. Inhale here, and then exhale, reach the top arm up in line with the shoulder, follow with the gaze, and kind of reach it back behind the body a little bit. Good. Inhale, extend it overhead. Look down at the palm and the foot. Exhale, reach the arm up and back behind you, just slightly leveraging the rib cage open a little bit more. And inhale, close and look down. Last one. Exhale, arm up and reaching back. And inhale, arm overhead, gazing down. Windmill the arm down now in front of you and on the inside of that front leg. And then inhale, rise back up to warrior two. And exhale, arms release at the sides. Good. Turn the feet facing the long edge of the mat. Take a breath here. And then we'll all turn our feet to the left, pointing the toes to the left. Adjust the stance a little wider if that feels more steady. Bend the front knee. Hips trying to stay just kind of nice and level and underneath you. And extend the arms to warrior two, thumbs up. Inhale, reverse. Exhale, back to warrior two. Do that 2 more times with your breath. If you watched any of the NASA SpaceX launch this week, any of the coverage of that, this kind of stuff always makes me think of those things because the little archer in the sky. Every time we do reverse warrior, that's what I think of. Good. And then last one. And we'll lower front elbow to front thigh, extend the top arm overhead. The palms are kind of facing each other and gaze down at the bottom palm and foot. Inhale here. And exhale, arm reaches up in line with the shoulder, gaze follows, and pull it back behind you a little bit just to leverage and open this rib cage some. Inhale, arm overhead, gaze down. Exhale, open up. Open the rib cage a little bit, reach behind you just slightly, it doesn't have to be huge. Inhale. And exhale. Good, last one. Inhale, gazing down, arm overhead. Exhale, arm up, reach back. And then closing again, looking down. Windmill the arm down in front of you, and then rise up to warrior two. And release the hands, turn the feet. Step to Tadasana, facing to the long edge of your mat. And give your legs a little break from that wide straddle. Take a couple of breaths to recover, to absorb. Good, so let's kind of work with our balance just a little bit here. Turn and face the short edge of your mat at the front, whatever you're considering the front of your mat at home. And let's take our hands to our hips. I'm gonna turn slightly, I think a little bit this way so you guys have a better view of an angled position of my body. So if you place your hands right here on your hips, and if you start to hinge forward at the hips, you'll feel where the hip creases are. And that's your indicator of really good hip flexion, that you're flexing at the hips, keeping nice and long. So if you put the fingers there as you're flexing, it should feel like, even if you put the pinky sides of your hands like this, as you flex forward, it should be Pac-Manning around your hands and going as deep into that hip flexion as you can until it feels like it won't close anymore. But for the balance portion, go just as deeply as you feel like you're going to be able to stand on one leg. So you could just start hinging kind of partway forward, partway being from totally upright to torso parallel to the floor. So you could kind of just start to hinge partway forward. Have your gaze softening kind of down and out in front of you just slightly at the floor, keeping the hands on the hips, and just bring your weight over in to the right foot and step your left foot back and go onto just your big toe of that left foot that's behind you. And kind of just start to see how this feels standing on your right leg with most of your body weight in that hip and then even body weight coming forward and trying to stay balanced there without collapsing into the hip. Just rise up on this right side, like lift up out of the right hip and let this left one even rotate down a little bit so the hips still are like pointing down at the ground and they're nice and level. Take another breath here. Good, and then come up and step forward. It's like our test run. Everybody can check in and see how their balance is tonight. And I'll tell you, balancing like that with weight forward, a lot more work than just balancing on one leg with all of your weight in one plane. And teaching this virtually is a little bit tricky, I'll say, because I can't see you guys and how anybody's even doing. I have no indicator of anybody in the studio. So just really listen to your body. We're going to take it easy. So start to hinge forward again, about part way. And bring your weight into your left foot and just step your right foot back about a couple feet and weight on the big toe. So there's really not very much weight here. It's just there for balance. I'm holding most of the weight in this left standing leg. So rise up on that left side. Let this right hip even kind of rotate down toward the ground so your hip bones in the front are shining like two headlights forward or down to the ground. And just kind of try to stand in this foot, establish that your weight is distributed evenly over this foot. You don't feel like you're having to sink into the hip joint. One more breath. Spine nice and long, and then come up nice and tall. Good. Turn and face the long edge of the mat. Take Tadasana. I come halfway. Bring your weight, hands to your hips again. Bring your weight over into your right foot and just kind of lift your left foot away from the floor. So I kind of have to shift over to the right like this so I can pick up my left foot from the floor. And I want you to just sweep it out to the left. Keep the toes drawing towards the knee, and then bring it back in. Don't set it down. Inhale, press it out. Exhale and bring it in. Deep inhale, press it out. Doesn't have to be huge. If I go too high, see, then it shifts me keeps my hips way off level. So it's not a huge movement, and come back to Tadasana. We'll do the other side. Hands to the hips, bring your weight over into the left foot. Lift the right foot off the ground by just drawing the toes up a little deeper towards the knee. And inhale, sweep it out to the side, foot stays flexed. Exhale, bring it back in. Keeping your hips as level as you can. I realize there's a little bit right like this just so you can clear your right foot. But again, if you come up too high with the leg, it'll really throw your hips off level. And then lower down. So just kind of, I want you to just feel all those muscles on the sides of the legs and the glute area activating. Take a couple breaths in Tadasana. We're going to do Ardha Chandrasana next. So this is why if you have a wall, please use the wall. If you just have the back of a chair, then you're going to do this, everything that we do, and just pick whichever foot you do first forward. And you're going to use chair or couch or whatever it is that you have just to place your front hand on for balance. And you're not going to go as deep to the ground as those with a wall. And if you have a block too, I would grab a block. I'm going to move this stuff out of the way. Let me grab a block since I have one so that for those who have a block, you use it. If you don't, you're just going to press your hand, the back of your hand into the wall. And you'll just float it there. And we're using the wall as like a way we're going to use it like press your whole body into it. So behind you. So Ardha Chandrasana, you're going to start facing whichever direction you want to. Place the block about 4 to 6 inches if you have it away from the wall, away from the baseboard on the tall side, and place your front foot and place it about 6 inches in front of you. So you start by standing in Tadasana, and you're pretty close to the wall to begin with. And then you're going to step the foot that is farthest from the wall or toward the center of your room back. And if you're doing this on your mat, which is using something for your hands, just do right foot forward first, left foot back first. Okay, bring your hands to your hips. Sorry, let that back heel come down. So you're kind of in like a short, wide stance, squaring up. And then we're going to do that hinging forward at that front hip. Feel it Pac-Manning around those fingers in the front. And then reach your hand down toward the block. And if not, you're going to press it up against the wall, your arm against the wall. And everybody, if you're using the wall, go ahead and let your front hip and your whole body even start to press into the wall here. Then roll to your back big toenail. Okay. As we start to now shift our weight forward into this front foot, and my torso is parallel to the floor, you want to check in with this right foot and this right hip. Ground through the 4 corners of the right foot and rise up off of that right hip. Start by first floating the back leg. Then begin to press yourself into the wall. Leg, heel, back. And if you're not using the wall, you're just starting First you float, then you stack the hips and open. You can leave this top hand on the top hip, or if you want, reach it up in line with the shoulder and press it into the wall as well. So if you're using the wall, really press yourself there into the wall. Back toes are still drawing toward the back knee. Front foot grounded evenly, rising up out of that hip. And again, if you're using something just the back of a chair or couch, you're like here, and this is good. This is a lot of work. Take one more breath, like let yourself feel like really, really big, like you're taking up a lot of space. We want to come out as consciously and methodically as we went in. So top hand to the hip, turn your gaze down toward the floor, toward the hand. Level the hips. So start to close the hips now. And then lower the foot back into that short wide stance, finding your toenail first. Lower the heel. Nice long spine. Inhale to rise. And exhale, step the back foot forward. So I took you guys really slowly in. I know some of you have done this with me before. So you probably just took the steps because you know them now. You have them memorized. But again, you're at home, so it's tricky for me to do this virtually. I want to make sure I'm very clear. We're going to do the other side. So you're just going to turn around and do the same thing. Now you just have the opposite side facing the wall first. I'm going to move over here because I've got all this stuff on the wall I don't want to knock off. You might be doing the same thing in your space. So block 4 to 6 inches from the baseboard, 4 to 6 inches in front of your foot, and in line with this one closest to the wall. Foot closest to the center of the room or away from the wall steps back, short wide stance. Hands at the hips. Inhale, nice tall spine. Exhale, flex at the front hip. Lower the hand to the block. Let your body come to the wall now. Hip, shoulder, gaze stays down. Roll to this back big toenail, and you might have to half step it forward as you bring weight into that front foot. Find your balance. Press through the 4 corners of this. Rise up and float the back leg now. Just float it. Again, stay grounded through your front foot equally. You're not collapsing in the hip. Instead, you're pushing the earth away from you with the 4 corners of your foot. And then open, stack the hips. And if you want, you can extend the top arm. So with the wall, you really can enjoy about 4 or 5 breaths, especially if you guys have done this one with me before. If you're just using a hand for balance up here, you might only be there for 3 breaths and then slowly come out. But kind of feel like you're shooting energy from the hands and the feet in all these directions. Makes me think of that little firecracker wheel that like the little star, you know? Like shooting outward. And then when you're ready, hand to the hip, look down, level the hips, look back to where you can set your toe down in that short wide stance, lower the heel, long spine, and inhale to rise and exhale to step forward. You can come back to your mat and take Tadasana for a few breaths. So if you have an office space that's like a private office or even a meeting room that when it's not being used, conference room or something like that, or if you're working at home, and that's your office space right now and you have a wall, you can do that half moon when you're just sitting at your computer and you're like this and you're just feeling that kind of stagnation from being pulled to the screen and the computer and all this kind of mental stuff happening. And if you're using the wall and the block and you're just pressing into the wall, you can get up and kind of press back against the wall, and it really just kind of, it brings a lot of energy in, but not in a way that I think would make you feel whacked out. It actually is very kind of balancing and grounding at the same time because it's a balance pose. And then you're just like taking up all this space. So just an idea for, yoga off the mat. Good. So go ahead and take a seat. And again, if you want to prop your hips with something like a rolled up blanket for this one. One more balance pose seated here. Navasana or boat pose, and really Ardha Navasana, so half boat. So you can bend into your knees and leave your heels down, toes drawing back towards the knees, sitting up nice and tall. So if this is a lot of work for you to stay nice and tall and lifted in the chest, stay here. If you need more work, you can rock back behind the sits bones a little bit and float the legs up, knees bent. But you can see with me, I kind of right away start to collapse a little bit and round. So you can do that one. I'm going to stay here. Extend the arms in front, thumbs up, pull the arm bones back into the sockets. Take an inhale at the middle and then exhale and just open up to the left with the left arm and follow it with the gaze. And then inhale back to center and exhale, open the right arm up over to the right and reach behind you, follow with the gaze. Inhale back to center. Good. Exhale, rotating left. Second time, first side, inhale, center. Exhale to the right, second time, second side. So just do one more time to each side with your breath. Don't rush the breath just to be done with it, because the breath is your friend. Keeps all the core muscles working synergistically, and we definitely need all of them in this one. It is tempting to push and pull it out just to be over with it though. When you're done, meet in Dandasana or staff pose. So legs out in front, toes up, knees soft, and sitting up nice and tall. The hands can be here, pressing into the earth to help a little bit with keeping the weight of the upper body lifted. Nice long spine. Take a couple breaths. Notice if you allow the fullness of breath to be there. And this one, you can really feel how all the core muscles just light up. Good, and then go ahead and scoot the hips forward, lay back. So you're fully on your mat. Feet are planted, knees bent. Extend the arms overhead. I'm like, keep looking because I'm like, I'm gonna knock something over. Extend the arms overhead, interlace the fingers and press the palms overhead, relax the shoulders. So just kind of stretching through the upper spine here. Getting your arms as close to the floor as your shoulders allow. Take one more breath. And then leave the fingers interlaced, but turn the palms to face the top of the head. And then bring the arms forward and hands over the chest now. Fingers interlaced, and I want you to press the webs of your fingers toward each other with as much force as you need to feel the muscles in the back and the upper back between the shoulder blades engage and press down into the mat. You even kind of feel your arm bone hug down into the socket. Maintain that amount of effort the whole time throughout this movement, and then inhale, lift the hips and bend the elbows halfway, palms halfway to the chest. Exhale, straighten the arms, lower the hips. 4 more times. Inhale, bend the elbows, lift the hips. Keep that contraction of the web of the hands, fingertips pressing together. Exhale, release back. 3 more. Inhaling, lifting and bending. Exhale, lowering and straightening. It's hard to maintain that effort when the arms straighten. A little bit more difficult to maintain the effort in the upper back as the arms, right, extend, because the arm bone wants to come out of the socket. Last one. Take the arms out to a T. Inhale, lift the knees up over the hips, toes draw towards the knees. Exhale, release the knees to the left, just halfway toward the floor. Inhale, bring the knees up to center. Exhale, release the knees halfway to the right, keeping them in line with the hips, just partway to the floor. Inhale to the center. Exhale, halfway to the left with the knees, sinking it with the fullness of the breath. So you really feel the core muscles working. And you're not telling any particular thing to contract. You're just tapping into the wisdom of the body. One more time each side. Inhaling at the middle, exhaling to the left. And then inhaling at the center. Pull the knees towards the chest. Bring the knees to the outside of the body. Feet are active and just rock side to side. And then come into happy baby. You can grab the big toe with the 2 fingers, or you can grab the outsides, pinky sides of the feet, or even just the backs of the thighs. You can add that rocking side to side if you want. Nice full breath. So even here, we want that that fullness of breath, helping our core muscles to stay enlivened, engaged. Because even though we're lying on our back, if the core muscles are working here in this posture, it can even lead to some releasing in certain areas that are maybe holding on to something or tension we weren't aware of. And it's really cool when you are paying attention on purpose and you kind of catch something like that happening in your body and you get to witness. It's like a direct experience of the wisdom of your body. When you're ready, you can come back to Apanasana, just a simple knees toward the chest, holding where it's comfortable. Again, breathing and paying attention. And then coming to Shavasana, corpse pose. I'm going to sit up and keep track of the time, and I'm also going to dim the lights here, at least one level. Take these fluorescents down, and if you want to dim the lights in your space, if you want to cover your eyes up with a simple hand towel, or if you're fortunate enough to have an eye pillow. So allow yourself any and all the comforts that are available to you. Allow the eyes to close down. Feel the back body settling in to the mat. As though the earth is supporting you. And then even imagining that you're rooting down into the earth now, maybe like you have roots kind of coming out of the back of your body, reaching down into the earth and anchoring you. And still the front body feels nice and open, soft, and kind of opening and releasing skyward, so that you have a feeling of being able to move if you want to, but not really wanting to. Just a sense of feeling grounded and safe all at the same time. Allow the face to relax. Drop your awareness down to the navel chakras and below. Feel the roundness, this softness of the space in the belly, in the pit of the abdomen, and the tip of the tailbone. And just allow yourself to really let go of any ruminating, any storytelling. Release any urge to time travel and just stay present here in this moment, immersed deep inside, and rest. Slowly and gradually begin to deepen your in breath and release it nice and slow, gently. You can wiggle your fingers and your toes. Circle the wrists and the ankles. Feeling all that fresh, vital, healing energy coming back into the body. And when you're ready, you'll make your way to your right side. On an exhale, press up to a comfortable seat. If you wish, you can join me, Anjali Mudra, bowing your head, releasing your gaze now into your heart space. We can form a sense of gratitude, connect to and cultivate that gratitude in your heart space so that it may permeate out into the world, into those who you come in contact with, and into your daily life. May all beings know peace. May all beings everywhere be healed. May all beings know the beauty of their own true nature. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Again, I thank each of you for being here, signing on. Hope you enjoy the rest of your evening. Hope to see you Wednesday.